What's up, horror fans? It's Danny from the Lassercast. I have a cup of coffee on my shirt and a beer in my hand, and I'm ready to talk about the New York City Horror Film Festival, program number 1, which I got to see live and in person for the first time since 2019 on Thursday night, December 1st. And this film festival is playing at the Cinepolis Chelsea on 23rd Street and 8th Avenue in Manhattan, and it is running through the weekend. I am not there tonight, but I will be there most of the day tomorrow and Sunday, and they have tons of great programs. You can go to nychorrorfest.com and buy tickets for all of the programs. You can get a virtual pass and you can sit at home and watch all of these great horror movies, all the shorts, all the features. But if you buy your tickets to go in person, I promise you, you'll have a great time. They have a bar. They have great people. You will get to interact with some super cool indie horror filmmakers. And I had a great night last night. The first program to open up the 2022 festival, we started with 2 shorts and then a feature film that, gotta be honest, kind of blew me away and is creeping up the list of 2022 horror movies in a year where it has just been incredible for horror. Pete and I just are, foaming at the mouth to get to our best of 2022 countdown because it's such a great year from beginning to end. Let's start with the first short film. It was called Heartbeater. It was directed by Rob Heimabaugh, written and directed by him, and it is essentially 2 women played by Haley Lipscomb and Caroline Quigley, and they are making out. Things are getting a little hot and heavy. It's obviously a first date that is progressing well, and then things get a little bit awkward. Things go a little bit weird. One of the women who tragically lost, her ex went a little bit crazy and tried to kill her. She starts to have a little flashbacks of that, tries to get out of this house, but she's locked in, and the woman that she's out on a first date with is harboring a secret. I don't want to spoil it, but I really enjoyed this. This was a 6-minute short film. One of my favorite things about going to horror film festivals is getting to see these short films and how much hard work. Just talking to some of the filmmakers that I got a chance to meet last night, some of these 6-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute movies, they take years to make, and I'm just so in awe of these filmmakers and what they, how much time and effort they put into these projects. I really enjoyed Heartbeater, and I hope that it finds a place to stream at some point. This, to me, feels like it could be made into a feature. I think the best thing you can say about a short film is I would like to see more of it. And I think this has the potential to be a really cool 90-minute horror movie. And the twist in it, which I don't want to spoil, I feel would make a great twist ending to a feature film. So rooting for writer-director Rob Heimabaugh to get, if he's trying to pursue this as a feature, I'd love that to happen. The second short was 3:15. This was directed by Jason and Michael Levy. They are co-producers of one of my favorite films of 2022, Terrifier 2, which is probably in my top 3 right now, which I gotta be honest, it still shocks me that Terrifier 2 is in my top 3 horror movies of 2022. I want to shout out the music in this short. Man, Joshua Banash does the score, and the music was great. I really enjoyed this. This was a story about an old man who is basically being stalked by a demon in his house that comes at there's almost like a time jump element to it, and there's a watch, and it keeps going back to the titular time. There's a demon who's chasing him. There's really great cinematography here, where as this old man is walking through the house, the demon appears behind him and off to the side, but is very careful not to move, and it's almost like blink and you'll miss that there is a very human-looking demon hanging out in the background of some of these shots. Really enjoyed this. Again, this was 9 minutes or so, and like with the first short, the best thing you could say about a short is that you would like to see this expanded and turned into a feature. And if these guys, Jason and Michael Levy, if they want to turn this into a feature film, I would be well on board with that, because this movie was really creepy, and I really enjoyed it. The main attraction of the first program was a film called Candyland. This was written and directed by John Swab, and this movie, it really did blow me away a little bit. This movie is one of the best portrayals of sex work and sex workers that I've seen, especially in the horror genre. You really get a sense that these characters are, they're not portrayed as, there's nothing negative about the portrayal of these characters, even though Candyland in the movie is a truck stop along a stretch of highway where truckers stop, and there's like a little motel, which is basically run by Nora, played by Guinevere Turner, who I recognize from The L Word. She was on that show for a little bit. She also co-wrote a bunch of episodes. Nora runs this motel, and her girls and her boy operate. They are the Lot Lizards. That's their name for them. They include Sadie, Liv, Riley, and Levi. And they are fantastic. Sam Quarton plays Sadie. Virginia Rand plays Liv. Josh Brolin's daughter, Eden Brolin, plays Riley. And Owen Campbell plays Levi. Owen Campbell was the filmmaker in X, so he's had a very good year in horror. Owen Campbell was there at the New York City Horror Film Festival. He participated in a Q&A after the film, which was really cool, along with Olivia Luccardi, who plays Remi. Remi is an outcast from this religious cult who is basically dropped off at the truck stop. And she is welcomed into this family. That's what they are. That's what these girls and Levi are. They are basically a family. And from what the Olivia Luccardi and Owen Campbell talked about after in their Q&A, they really made it seem like all of these actresses, all of the cast, they got along incredibly well. The truck stop is protected by a sheriff, Sheriff Rex, I believe, played by Billy Baldwin in a really interesting performance. And I thought he was very good in the movie. And for a lot of this movie, it doesn't necessarily feel like a horror film, except there are some of the harsh, awful realities that come with the life of a sex worker. There is a really brutal rape sequence at one point, which I will admit, if you are squeamish to that type of stuff, sexual violence, there is some of that in this movie. Remi, Olivia Luccardi's character, she is, like I said, she is a part of a religious cult who is basically exiled and taken into this family, and she decides that she is going to join the Lot Lizards. And there's so much great character work between the core four of the Lot Lizards trying to, help Remi get into this new role of her life, except that Remi is kind of like an undercover religious zealot, and she ends up providing a lot of the horror in this movie. Again, I don't want to spoil specific plot details, but Remi becomes a very a character that you are not going to want to root for, whereas there are parts of the movie, especially towards the beginning, where you're like, oh, this is almost nice, the way that she's being welcomed into this family of sex workers at this truck stop. The director, John Swab, does a really great job of portraying this type of lifestyle, but also, again, pointing out the harsh realities of it, and also telling a story of the insanity of and the cult-like mentality that comes along with extremism, fanaticism. I've always said some of the scariest characters in movies, in horror, are those religious zealot characters. I think of Marcia Gay Harden in The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist, done by Frank Darabont. The way she unites all the people in the store against the protagonists, and they become a pack of murderers, pretty much. I think about Samantha Slayan in Midnight Mass, Netflix, Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass, where her zealotry turns her into the most evil character on an island that is being haunted by a giant vampire. So religious zealotry has always been one of those things in a horror movie that scares me the most, because I think there's always an air of realism to it, sadly. And Olivia Luccardi's Remi, she plays this perfectly. She was so good in this movie, and I think that she is going to rank when more people see this movie. It's doing the festival circuit, obviously, but when more people see this movie, they're going to start talking about her as a great horror villain, one of the best horror villains of 2022. And I really enjoyed this movie. Was it perfect? No. I would have liked some slight changes towards the end of the movie, but nitpicks. This movie was barely 90 minutes long. It flies by. Great characters, great acting, a terrible villain with a very unique weapon, which I think, again, is going to help make this character, Remi, kind of iconic. She has a weapon that I can guarantee you've never seen used in a horror movie before, which is pretty cool. And a lot of the other members of this cast I thought were great, and I'd love to see more of. Sam Quarton as Sadie, who's basically the de facto leader of the Lot Lizards. I thought she was fantastic. Owen Campbell as Levi was great in this movie. I just enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. It's a brutal watch, but it is really good. I cannot wait to head back to the Cinepolis Chelsea tomorrow to see more horror movies, more features, more short films. I'm going to be doing more recap videos like this of the films at the New York City Horror Film Festival, and I'm going to try to get you guys some information as to where you can see some of these movies, whether you can get them either on VOD or if they're available online somewhere. But yeah, New York City Horror Film Festival, it is running through Sunday, December 4th, Cinepolis Chelsea, 8th Avenue, West 23rd Street in Manhattan. NYCHorrorFest.com is the website where you can purchase both virtual passes and in-person individual program tickets and full festival tickets. So go do that, and then hang around the Lassercast, subscribe to the channel, watch some of our other videos. Pete has different interviews with horror authors almost every single day. He just posted another one yesterday. He has a great interview up with Tom Holland And Pete and I have covered Interview with a Vampire recently. Charlotte and I just finished episodes 1 through 4 of Wednesday on Netflix, and we did a review of that, and we are finishing up episodes 5 through 8, and our review of that is coming up very soon as well. So this has been Danny from the Lassercast. Go to the New York City Horror Film Festival, and I'll see you very soon.